Hello again, good people of the internet. Once again, it's your girl Ego Drem. Hello, how have you been? What is up? What the dealio, what it is. I know I've said it before many times on my many other videos and platforms that if you don't try anything new, or if you don't test your skills in new and interesting ways, that you don't exactly grow. You don't challenge yourself, you don't learn new things, you don't improve as an artist, and you certainly won't improve as a person. So, your girl decided to spend $60-something and follow her own advice, and nabbed one of these off of Blick's website. Would you believe me if I said I haven't touched printmaking equipment since the 90s? I think I was either a sophomore or early junior year in high school, actually, the first time I had ever heard of cutting into a piece of soft linoleum and trying to make a pretty little picture with it. But yes, that is exactly what I did, is I decided to burn up a gift certificate from my parents and try something I haven't tried in almost 30 years. Because I figured, what the hell, may as well, right? When you're an artist, trying to do something about your artist's block, so you buy artist's blocks with which to make art. And now, let's get to work. All right, here's what we're working with today. First, I'm setting out this piece of spray painted particle board. Yes, I know my nails look like crap. Because it's, even though I swept up the floors in my art studio good and proper, it's still a consistently smooth, flat, reliable surface that I'm totally going to need if I want to be able to do this effectively. Limited edition deluxe block printing kit, free signed print included. I am looking forward to seeing it. So your humble narrator here hasn't exactly done a whole lot of screen printing or printing of any kind, really. A long time ago, I did a YouTube video where I did some experimental pieces with a box or a container of Bristol paper. I still got plenty of it, so what the hell, may as well, right? I'm super curious to see what all's inside. Trash cans that way. Yay! 10 points! Now, let's all see what's inside, yeah? Here we go. Limited edition deluxe block printing kit. All right. Oh. Let's see, we got us some printing ink here. What colors? Gold, red, silver, extender base? Not sure what that is. Oh no, I hope nothing's broken. And black. So this is what we've got for ink. And I don't know what transparent extender base is, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. Just gonna hang, you know what, I'll just place this gently right here. Aha, okay. I've seen something like this before. Aha, all right. Oh, yeah. So if I recall correctly, these little bits here are for actually carving the design into the block itself. I should probably set these down. They look quite sharp. In fact, that, I swear, looks like a scalpel. Sharp things are tools, not toys. Now, if only I can just figure out, unless that's what this is for. Oh, wow. Yeah, I totally know what the fuck I'm doing. I probably should have watched some tutorial videos before spending $60-something plus shipping and handling on this kit. And yet here we are. All right, roller. It feels soft, rubbery, smells rubbery. It's not wood. I can't really imagine wood being able to hold a heck of a lot of traction against a flat surface. And the wood block. Am I carving into this directly? Oh good, it does come with instructions, so I'm not completely boned. Let's set the block over here. Now, this looks like if I had to guess, it looks like a rolling tray, you know. I don't know if you have painted a room in a house, or you know someone who does, like they have these painter trays or bins where they will roll the paint roller. I would imagine that this is where you put the ink, roll the roly roll, and yeah, that. Oh, good. I'm gonna need them. Speedy carve. Block printing. Linogravure. No habla en francés. 4" by 6". Is there really only one? Oh no. Oh no shit. I was under the impression that this was gonna come with like 2 or 3 pieces of, this is linoleum of some kind. No, not the stuff you put on your floor. Yeah, we're off to a great start, aren't we? Very much flying by the seat of my pants here. And this must be the signed print mentioned on the top of the box. Bree Thompson. Well, Miss Thompson, I'm in luck. Because I happen to be a big fan of mushrooms. Oyster mushrooms in particular are really good in soup. I actually do rather like this one. Thank you very much, Ms. Thompson. I hope you are well, and I will treat this print very well. I will frame it at some point and put it up in my studio somewhere. Okay, I'm going to take a flip through these instructions, and I will be back at some point once I figure out what the fuck I'm doing. Oh. For this experiment, I decided to go into my sketchbook, photograph one of my iconic gas masks, and modify it. Alright, so since I'm starting basically from the exact beginning of the tutorial, because I haven't played this game in a very, very long time, we're going to start with the real simple of instructions. Use a slightly warm iron to transfer images from a freshly printed inkjet. Is it even working? It feels kind of warm. While this warms up, I'm just going to cut that out into a proper shape to fit on this soft piece of linoleum and see how it goes. The sketch that you saw in my sketchbook not too terribly long ago is a stylized version of a gas mask called the M40 Pro Mask, or the M40 Field Protective Mask, which is a gas mask used by the United States military for 1992, limited use after 2006, and is currently in the process of being phased out in favor of the M50 Joint Service General Purpose Mask. It took a few attempts of adjusting the image so that the size would print correctly so that it would fit just right on this little linoleum tablet. And here we go. Okay. Lightly warm iron to transfer image from a freshly printed piece of paper. Or draw it by hand, which I didn't want to do. So we're going to take the lazy way. Now, as I said earlier in the video, when I did this for the first and thus far only time in my life, decades ago, our teacher made us draw the image we wanted to print directly onto the block and told us it's going to print in reverse of what we draw. I actually didn't know about the warm iron technique back then until just recently when I opened up these instructions to try them out myself, which is a little frustrating. I went into this tutorial basically flying blind. I didn't watch any tutorials. I didn't look anything up on the internet because I figured I'm just going to try it completely flying blind on my own and see what would happen. I guess I have this idea that if you make a few mistakes every once in a while, it's part of the learning process, but oh boy, was learning this quite a process. Or would it be relearning this? I don't know, what would you call it? Anyway, I was starting to get a little bit frustrated, as you can no doubt tell, because I feel like this shouldn't have taken as long as it did. So now I'm going to try something a little different. Adding some water into this cheap old iron, which would normally help get wrinkles out of your clothing, in hopes that a little bit of warm dampness will help bleed the ink through the paper onto the block. Just a touch, not too much, just enough to get the job done. So, let's find out if it gets the job done. Obviously, in hindsight, I really should have watched some tutorial videos or looked up a WikiHow or something before I started doing this, but hey, I'm proud, I'm stubborn, I'm impatient, and I'm the kind of person that learns by doing instead of just sitting there and watching and reading. So, well, what the hell, may as well, I figured, let's just do this. Let's just do this and see what happens and see how it goes. It did not go well. As you've no doubt noticed, not only am I inexperienced with Linocut printing, block printing, or printing in general, I am also not exactly very well experienced with irons. I mean, have you seen my past videos? A lot of my clothes are t-shirts. Come on. The only other time I pull out this iron is to try to get patches onto my battle jacket, which doesn't work, and I wind up sewing them on by hand anyway. Maybe I hit a wrong button on the iron. The intent was to just get a little bit of steam out the bottom of the iron, which is normally what happens to help get wrinkles out of your clothes and your nicer shirts like blouses or slacks, but obviously this is way too much. Instead of giving it a little boost, I gave it a bath. It kinda worked. It kinda worked a little. I mean, the ink bled through onto the block, didn't it? It also ruined the paper, making it darn near impossible to peel off. Okay, just nice and easy, nice and gentle, like peeling back flower petals, or, reluctantly accepting that I royally screwed this up, but I'm incredibly stubborn. Oh, crap, I can't save this. I can't save this, can I? Darn it. Well, I guess this serves me right for trying to take a shortcut. Where did I go wrong? So I let it dry over the course of an hour, thinking maybe it'll be easier to peel off, but it peels off the ink as well. Damn it. I thought I followed the exact instructions the first time, so I tried to improvise. Well, fortunately, there's a whole other side. So then I dumped the water out of the iron, dried up my workstation, and then, begrudgingly, swallowed my pride and watched a few tutorials on YouTube on how to correctly transfer images from paper to a block with a warm iron, not a hot iron, a warm iron. I think I'm on the right track. I spent a lot of money on this kit. I'm not ready to just scrap it and give up just yet. No way. My cheap, prideful self is not so easily defeated. So, we're going to try this again, and hopefully, now that I have a little bit more information absorbed into my meat sponge of a brain, maybe it'll actually work this time, because now that I have a slightly better idea what I'm supposed to do, it'll actually work this time, right? Since my just do it approach didn't work, maybe watching how other artists do it will help me do it right? No? Didn't work? Okay, let's try it again. Now, according to the YouTube accounts of some of the printmaking artists I came across, there is a special type of marker that one can buy for this specific purpose. Basically, you run it over the paper and it transfers the ink through a chemical process onto the block. However, the markers are expensive. They apparently have very strong fumes that'll knock you on your butt. And since my studio is small and not well ventilated, Also, since I have a cat whose well-being I'm responsible for, I don't think that's going to work out for me. Also, like I said, I'm stubborn. I am going to get this to work, damn it. Going to work eventually. That, and yeah, I have to try. I just have to. I have to try. Ooh, I know. Maybe I'm putting on too much heat directly onto it. Maybe if I put another piece of paper behind it to, I don't know, buffer it, shield it somehow? No, still not working? What the hell? What am I doing wrong? I looked up information, I watched tutorials, they all make it look so easy. What the... Okay, what the hell? That took long enough. Of ironing and ironing and ironing. Let's just take the paper and peel it back. Doesn't it make me feel better? No, just a little bit coming off. I mean, I guess that's okay. I mean, I figured a little bit was going to come off when the paper got damp. So I'm not exactly devastated by it. I just don't want to have to keep ironing this motherfucker. And you were supposed to be the easy way, you piece of shit. I don't know how, but I somehow fucked up again. I went back and I watched some YouTube tutorials about how to heat transfer a jet printed or toner printed image onto the cutting material, the block material, and they made it look like it took minutes, because for a lot of them it did take minutes. This one lady, it took like 3 minutes, I swear, maybe a little bit longer, to get a much larger DeskJet machine printed image transferred onto a much larger piece than this, and it took mere minutes. This is the best I could get at close to 40 minutes with a warm iron, not even a hot iron. A hot iron with a warm iron with a very small amount of water for steaming, which I did my damn best to avoid after this catastrophe. I am very much flying blind here. So, as an artist and as a human being, I will admit that one of my greater flaws is I kind of sort of am not exactly the most patient person. This has caused me problems in my social life, my personal life, and professionally, is that when I look into the way things are supposed to be done and the way things are supposed to come out, and that doesn't happen, at least it doesn't happen as quickly as I would like it to, I have a tendency to get frustrated, irritated pretty easily. So I'm going to have to figure something else out, because this is the only block that came with the kit, and I'm not about to spend even more money to go get more. So I think this side is easier to redeem than this. I'm going to figure something else out. So, all right. Not absolutely perfect, but pretty darn close, considering I haven't actually done this since the 90s. So instead of Sharpie marker, I decided to use an ordinary ballpoint pen instead, because I wanted to make clearer guidelines with which to cut through. I'm not going to worry about putting in a signature on it yet. I figure if I'm going to be making prints, I can just sign at the bottom of the print. So everything that is pink on this flat surface here that you see is going to be painstakingly carved away. These little blades here, I don't want to touch them with my bare hands because I don't know how sharp they are. Yeah, they come in multiple different sizes and tip sizes. This is the smallest one for getting the really painstaking details, little areas like here, probably. And, well, we'll see how that goes. Yet another mistake I made was in the process of filming and editing this to show all of you, I accidentally deleted the highlight of footage where I first broke the surface with the carving tool into the linoleum. So now you see all the effort that I've made over the course of a few hours gone, and here's what you see now is me very carefully scooping and gouging and cutting away at the areas that are to remain blank when the print is made. This material, this linoleum that I'm cutting into, is super soft, pliable, and flexible, so I don't really have to press down very hard, which is actually quite a relief. This linoleum block is also very supple and pliable, so I am carving up against the metal tray that came with the kit for stability purposes because I don't want to move around too much and stab my fingers. All right, here's what we got. This actually took 2 days in between my own household tasks, of course, to finish carving, and I'm putting the word finish in air quotes because I'm thinking I need to give it a test run before I can see if there's anything else that needs to be carved out. Otherwise, I think it's a pretty darn close match with what I sketched out, albeit not absolutely perfect, but pretty darn close and close to the spirit. So if I'm going to give a test print, give her a test go, I'm thinking this nice, lovely red, rouge, rojo, rot. Red. I think this would be perfect. A great start. If you've still stuck with me throughout, more than half of this video just being me screwing up the heat transfer, I'm grateful for that. Because now we get to the point where we finally get this show on the road with this lovely red printing ink. Not going to use too terribly much at first. This particular red, when laid out and finally printed out, looks a little bit magenta for my personal taste, but you know, we're not exactly creating a masterwork here. We're just doing a little experiment, so not too worried about. Got a nice clean roller here, kept well away from cat hair, and cleaned it again thoroughly before using it just to be on the safe side, because I don't want cat hair ruining this. Just lightly rolling in opposite directions over and over and over again for a few minutes, because I want to get as good even a layer of ink as I possibly can. Now, according to instructionals and tutorials that I've found on YouTube and elsewhere on the internet, they suggest to roll the ink out as smoothly and evenly as possible, but when you start getting the lightly ridged, peaky consistency that you see here that looks a bit like wet suede and makes a sound akin to wet Velcro as you're rolling it out. Zooming in here, and I accidentally edited over the sound. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, on the roller it looks like a really bright lipstick red. Well, here we go. I'm not pressing down very hard on the block itself. I guess I was worried about accidentally distorting or further damaging the block. Just little swoosh rolls, blart, 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 blart. There we go. More wet Velcro noises and more rolling in light layers. I don't want to put too much ink on the block because I don't want it to smudge and look nasty. Just a little bit, just a touch is usually just enough. And it looks like I've got some good, consistent layers of red all over the surface of the block, although I can still see the ballpoint pen ink showing through. It is really hard to find a good, solidly opaque red paint, but it still got on my hands. Okay, let's make the magic happen. To begin, I'm more or less dropping the Bristol paper on top of the block and pressing down with it gently with a flat jar lid. I am only touching firmly enough so that the paper gets good, consistent contact with the block, but not so hard that it moves it around and smears and smudges it. I also didn't have anything with which to affix the block to, like a flat panel to basically turn it into a giant stamp, which might have been a bit more effective in terms of getting a good, solid, consistent surface on the paper. Did I emphasize here that I really don't want to smear or smudge or blur this or streak it in any way? So I want to be real delicate with it. Just take my fingertips, gently pull the paper away. Here we are. Okay, all right, I can see a few spots where I didn't carve the design as well as perhaps I should have. I'm not seeking perfection here. This was more about the process than the product. But, you know, in a general sense, I don't think I did too bad. So I can see where I didn't quite carve in enough detail, and also where I carved away things I didn't mean to. Although the consistency of the ink is a little bit spotty in certain places on the mask itself, I kind of think that's part of the charm of printmaking. I think that's part of the charm of a good piece of art in general, are the little inconsistencies and mistakes. Those little things that AI cannot and will never be capable of doing, because AI sucks. Well, here it is. I squared it and trimmed it, the Bristol paper myself, and I can see where, especially on the upper part of the lens here, and certainly in the voiceometer, some mistakes were made. Inexperienced nervousness, and, you know, I didn't want to do anything too ornate or too crazy for my first Linocut block print in decades, but you know, I like to think for the first time in almost 30 years, I like to think that this came out okay. I like to think I did all right. Just with this rubbery piece of linoleum here, pressed onto this piece of paper right here, and pressed down with this block. Oh, shit.